Jerry King trudged through the dense, shadowy woods, his stomach a hollow, growling void. He had been on the road for days, surviving on scraps and the occasional morsel of food he could scavenge. His hunger gnawed at him with relentless ferocity, and the thin, winding path he followed seemed to stretch endlessly into the wilderness. Just as he was about to give in to his despair, he stumbled upon a clearing. At its center stood a small, weathered home, its exterior aged and battered by the elements. Surrounding the house were numerous gardens, each bursting with an abundance of vegetables and fruits. The sight was like a mirage in the desert, and Jerry's mouth watered at the thought of sinking his teeth into the fresh produce. With renewed determination, he approached the house and knocked on the door. After a moment, it creaked open to reveal an old man with a deeply lined face and piercing blue eyes.
Please. I'm starving. Do you have any work I can do in exchange for some food?
The old man studied Jerry for a long moment before shaking his head.
You need to leave these woods and never return. If you know what's good for you, you'll heed my warning.
Confused and desperate, Jerry tried to protest, but the man's expression hardened.
Go now, before it's too late.
Frustrated and furious, Jerry stormed away from the house. How could the old man be so heartless? His anger and hunger churned together into a reckless resolve. He would take what he needed, consequences be damned. As night fell, Jerry crept back into the gardens. He plucked tomatoes, carrots, and cucumbers, shoving them into his mouth with ravenous haste. The flavors exploded on his tongue, a symphony of sweetness and sustenance. He ate until his stomach was painfully full, his anger at the old man momentarily forgotten in the bliss of his being satisfied. But as he finished his last bite, the woods around him grew unnaturally quiet. A chill ran down his spine as he realized he was being watched. Tiny reflective eyes appeared in the darkness, glinting above and below the trees. He was surrounded. Panic seized him as he backed away from the gardens, but it was too late. From the shadows emerged an army of black squirrels, their eyes glowing with an eerie intelligence. They moved with an unsettling precision, circling Jerry and chittering softly amongst themselves. A rustling noise drew his attention back to the house. The old man stood on the porch, a look of despair on his face.
I warned you. Now face the consequences.
Jerry's confusion deepened as the squirrels pressed closer.
What's going on? Why are they doing this?
These woods are their domain. Not many people come through here. The food I grow is a pact, an agreement to spare my life in exchange for providing for them. You've stolen their food, broken the pact. Now they demand a replacement or return the food.
Jerry's mind raced, the pieces slowly falling into place. The old man had been feeding the squirrels to keep them at bay, to ensure his own survival. And now, Jerry had taken that from him.
No. There must be another way.
There isn't. You sealed your fate just as I once did. Now, you gotta take my place, or suffer the consequences.
Jerry looked at the old man, then at the advancing squirrels. The realization of his fate dawned on him, and his fear turned to defiance.
No. I won't be a slave to a bunch of fucking squirrels. I'd rather die.
The old man's eyes hardened.
So be it. But know this, the animals are hungry, and you took their food. You leave them no choice but to get it back.
The squirrels moved as one, their eyes never leaving Jerry. He could feel their hunger, their need pressing against him like a physical force. And then they attacked. Jerry screamed as the squirrels swarmed over him, their tiny teeth and claws tearing into his flesh. He tried to fight them off, but there were too many. They bit and clawed, ripping through his clothing and skin, digging deeper and deeper. The pain was excruciating, but worse was the horror of what they were doing. He could feel them burrowing into his stomach, their sharp teeth slicing through muscle and ligament. They were taking back the food he had stolen, piece by bloody piece. His screams echoed through the dark woods, but there was no one to hear them. The old man watched impassively on the porch, his expression unreadable. He had warned Jerry, but the young man had refused to listen. As the squirrels continued their gruesome work, Jerry's screams grew weaker. His vision blurred, and the world around him began to fade. The last thing he saw was the old man turning away and disappearing into the house. And then, there was nothing but darkness. The squirrels feasted until there was nothing left, their tiny eyes glinting with satisfaction. The pact had been broken, and the forest had claimed its due. The woods were silent once more, save for the soft rustle of leaves and the faint, echoing chitter of the squirrels. The gardens would continue to grow, the pact renewed with blood and sacrifice. But the memory of Jerry King's screams would linger, a dark and ominous reminder of the price of hunger and defiance. We hope you enjoyed the story. Stay safe and remember, the scariest stories are the ones we live through. Until next time.